Hello, salam, shalom, namaste, sat sri akal, aloha, hola, ciao, bonjour, buna, and привет. It's really, really good to be with you again, and I'm so excited today because I have a wonderful, wonderful guest with me. It's Jana Barrett, who's a fitness and movement coach. And oh my gosh, I can't wait for you to listen to our conversation today because I know it's going to be extra fabulous. Welcome, Jana.
Thank you so much, Samia. So lovely to be here with you.
Yes, I'm so happy. Last time when we were talking, we had such a fabulous and deep conversation about fitness and movement and all of that. So I can't wait to dig into all of that with you today. Will you just start us off by telling us more about who you are and what you do?
Absolutely. Thank you for the introduction. So I am a fitness and movement coach, and my passion in life my professional and personal life is to help women, specifically women in midlife, feel amazing. So I help women with exercise. So mindful movement and exercise that makes them feel strong and powerful, amazing, full of energy, kind of glowing goddesses. That's my vibe. I basically help women to go for sometimes what could be a very challenging time of their life in midlife and premenopause and menopause into thriving and feeling like, yeah, glowing goddesses. Let's go with that.
I love that because, when I think of the idea of a goddess, and you already sort of mentioned this also, that we're not just talking about like the like goddesses portrayed oftentimes, it's really beautiful and awesome
Mm.
in that sense, but they're also really strong, have so much power. And so for us as women to tap into both of those aspects of our
Mm.
identity, that is so cool. And I love that you focus on both.
Yeah, thank you. No, it is very powerful. You can kind of see it. It's more shining from, I think, within than just the exterior, which we often in our society and modern life focus on more. But I think there is nothing more alluring than a woman that is really confident and
True.
strong and powerful and full of energy, because we need to tap into what's beautiful about our feminine energy and how to wake it up in ourselves
Mhm.
in a world that values mainly masculine kind of achievement and energy. So that's what's beautiful
Yeah,
about my work.
indeed, indeed. And oh, I mean, like talking about masculine energy, feminine energy, and the differing values that the world at large tends to place. I mean, that's such a, I mean, it's really one of those issues that really, what's the word?
RQ.
Uh, I mean, it's just based on such limited thinking, because
Mm,
when we think about women as a group, there's so much diversity, or even if you think
mm,
about men as a group,
mm,
there's so much diversity within us. And and then to take all of that and then to just box it up into being like, no, you can only be this or only this little bit of who you are is actually feminine or actually masculine. But come on, that just, it's
yeah,
frustrating, it's annoying.
yeah, it is really limiting. And I think we need a little bit of both, like I am, when I'm at work and I'm coaching people, I'm often in my kind of a little bit more masculine energy, but I I love being, and the type of exercise that I like doing is the exercise that is not the hardcore weightlifting. It's more about movement and breath, and the movement that I do with some of the ancient tools, I would describe it as something between martial art and a dance and a warrior weapon training. And it's such a beautiful kind of blend of all. And I think that's what I want women to realize, that we're still following the fitness trends. Like I was shooting some content today and I was like, well, how did we get from the kind of the Jane Fonda aerobics, like weird, to like now CrossFit games, and women like, wow, we can be like men, and and like there's a lot of choice in between that we can tap into, and I think you just need to find something that speaks to you and your kind of your body and the way you want to move, because we don't need to follow what other people tell us to do. We can just choose and find something that speaks to you. And this kind of training I've discovered only recently, and it really speaks to me. It's enjoyable. It's not a chore. It's empowering, and it's the focus is being taken from the weight loss, and it's more into just waking up the inner goddess in you through exercise and breath and movement, and exercising in sync with your body rather than pushing it into some workouts that it doesn't really want to do, because we are different than men, and we often are being trained as men, and that's not cool, because that often leaves us exhausted and injured, and it doesn't suit our bodies, because our bodies are different. They really are.
Right. It's like, I can be strong. I am strong, and I'm not like a man. I don't have to be like a man to be strong. I can find strength and create strength and grow my strength in ways that are very me, very feminine, very woman. And
Yeah.
I just love that about your approach. Hey, thanks for tuning into this episode. Hope you're getting value out of it. For your information, this episode has been sponsored by the Happiness 101 program. Are you a change maker, coach, trainer, or healer? Are chains of fear holding you back from making the impact and income you desire? Using a unique combination of positive psychology and the spiritual wisdom of our most effective change makers, the Happiness 101 program helps you break through your limiting beliefs and manifest the abundance and success you desire with fun and ease. Interested? Book a free Happiness 101 exploration call with me, your happiness expert, Samia Bano. Just use my online calendar link in the show notes. Now, back to the show.
Thank you. Yeah. No, it's good. It's fun. It's fun. And seeing the transformations in women that work with me, going from maybe not so confident and, kind of out of touch with their bodies. I think there's a lot of women walking around the world that are really out of touch with their bodies. They don't like their bodies. They are hurting, they're in pain, they are struggling with hormones, struggling with a lot of things. And I think just seeing, you suddenly put a tool in a woman's hand and it's kind of like, oh, and then you kind of wake her up, and it's not just the physical strength, but it's the mental strength. And suddenly they're walking taller, and they say no a little bit more, and they setting healthier boundaries. And I think that it's their kind of mental resilience that I think it's so not spoken about exercise. It's all of the other benefits of the right exercise. It's not just the physical, it's not just the toned muscles, it's not the cardiovascular fitness, the strong bones, the strong muscles and ligaments. It's about the mental strength. It's about emotional and mental health. I mean, there's so much research now coming out about how exercise is actually sometimes more effective in treating a lot of mental health issues like anxiety and depression that medication is. And that's really powerful.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. You just made me think of my experience. This was back in my college days. And at that time, I was still very much in the process of the early stages of my recovery and healing from being a survivor of child sexual abuse. And I
Oh,
remember, um, in those days, I was I just felt so unsafe in my own body.
yeah.
And I didn't believe I had what it took to be able to protect myself. And I
Mm,
remember, not even feeling free enough to take on an open posture. Like sometimes I would be like just watching my fellow students on campus, just lying on the grass and, taking in the sun. And I was like, I wish I could do that. But I didn't feel safe to just lie back
mm,
like that and just let myself go. And one of the things that really began to shift that feeling of powerlessness and helplessness in me was when I got the opportunity to take a self-defense class on campus.
mm.
And the interesting thing was that, I mean, I took the class. It was for about 4 months. That's how long our semesters over here is. And so it was a 4 month long class. We met like twice a week or something. So
Wow.
by the end of 4 months, yes, I learned some skills. Um,
Mm.
but it wasn't like I was some kind of suddenly an expert at self-defense or fighting.
Yeah.
In fact, if anything, at one level, it just made me realize how much more I would need to learn to become really excellent at physical self-defense and fighting if it came down to that. Um,
Mm,
and there was a part of me that was like, okay, you know what? I need to learn it all and not only learn hand-to-hand combat, which is what we were like focusing on, but then they were like,
mm.
okay, more advanced because what if someone comes at you with a weapon and there are so many different kinds of weapons
Yeah.
and someone will always be better than you at using this weapon or that weapon or stronger than you. So you have to keep learning and, making yourself more and more skilled at these different fighting techniques. And there was a part of me that really was like, yes, I have to do it. I have to do it. But there was another part of me that was like, just thinking about it made me feel like, oh my gosh, I mean, am I now going to spend the rest of my life just focused on this? And is that really what I want to do? And in some ways it created a different kind of fear in me, um,
Mm,
and and like in terms of, okay, now I've started to learn, but now I don't know enough and I have to learn more of this. So it was just
mm.
like really uh, weird mind space. And what helped me get out of that actually when I took another self-defense course, but this one was actually for women by women. And it was a
Mm-hmm.
specialized course and training being offered for survivors of abuse and other forms of trauma.
Yeah.
And that is where this sort of put for me in perspective that no, you don't have to become an expert and take years and years of
Mm.
training in
Yeah.
different kinds of like fighting skills and so forth. It really is about the mindset. Once you have the right mindset, you have belief in yourself, then you will do and you can do whatever you need in the moment to protect yourself and take care of yourself.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it'll be said if all of us had to become black belts in karate in order to walk around the world, just in case somebody jumps at us. Yeah, no, there would be. But as you said, it's more about the, the response to if something was to happen. I mean, what are the chances? They're reasonably small, but then it's more about, the way you walk down the street. Men don't whistle at me anymore,
Yeah.
because I will turn back and I'll be like, you want to talk to me? Like once you get that kind of confidence and you walk down the street with, big, kind of straight posture and you look people in the eye, they don't tend to pick
Yeah.
on women like that. Even if you're walking into a, negotiating your contract at work, like it's how you present yourself, I think, and how you carry yourself and how you hold someone's gaze and eye contact. It's all these kind of, 95% of communication is nonverbal, isn't it? So people are picking these cues. Whereas if you're walking around, really timidly and you're looking down onto the ground all the time and you have rounded shoulders, people can tell that you are probably a little bit easier to pick on. Yeah.
Right. Right. I remember my self-defense teacher, like one of the main principles that she taught us was that, um, generally speaking, in cases where women are targeted for sexual assault, sexual harassment, abuse, violence, etc., it doesn't just happen in one go. Like it's not just um, usually someone's like watching you for a while and they will
Yeah.
test you and they will see how far they think you will let
Mm,
them go, how much you will
mm,
let them get away with, that they can
yeah.
get, because they don't want to get caught, they want
Mm,
to be able to do what they want to do and get away with it.
of
And
course.
so they will usually go through a process of sort of pushing you and testing you in
Mm,
terms of your boundaries, your strength, your ability to stand up for yourself at a mental, emotional level before they get physical. And so
mm,
exactly like you were saying, Jana, the way you carry yourself, the way you speak, that actually
mm,
is when it like comes to prevention, that is
yeah.
actually way more important than
Mm,
your physical skills in being able to fight with, whatever level of effectiveness or
mm,
being able to utilize weapons or not, etc.,
mm.
etc.
Oh, absolutely. Because I used to do jiu-jitsu and the main aim of all our training was you want to desperately try everything you can to not fight.
Mhm.
So
Mm,
even if you're a black belt in jiu-jitsu, like they don't want to pick the fight. They don't want to be the one, even they could put anybody down, but they don't want to. It's the
yeah.
whole point that you try everything possible
Ah,
to not having to engage.
yes.
Yeah.
Why is that? Like for you from that jujitsu perspective, why is that?
Why there's the philosophy of not fighting?
Yeah.
That's an interesting question. Yeah. I mean, you never know how it's going to go, do you? I mean,
Mm,
if you are up against a trunk, you probably are going to get hurt even if the final outcome is in your favor. I think it's always that element of unknown. Can they pull a knife on you and stab you? You don't know that. So I think you just want to basically, push them down onto the floor and run.
yeah.
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 Or never get to that situation where you have to
Yeah.
engage.
That is so wise, I think. That really is. I mean, for me, that shows that there is the philosophy of jujitsu and other martial arts for that matter.
Mm,
I think oftentimes, especially like in the West, we sort of never learn the philosophy and the underlying
Yeah.
disciplines and so forth that these arts are about. We just focus on what we see at the surface level in terms of, oh, you become an expert fighter and, what you see in the movies of people kicking butt and so forth.
Yeah, but it's not often about that. It's about humility and self-practice and meeting yourself on the mat rather than your opponent, reaching deep. And it is often about the philosophy behind it more than the actual physical aspects, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like in your approach, in your work, I see that you are doing something similar where yes, you teach people physical movement and fitness, but you don't, but that's not it. Like there's more to it. There's all these deeper aspects to it, to how you work with women. And that is
Mm,
really what allows you to help women get the really, really excellent results that you do.
mm. Yeah, absolutely. And it's about self-love and tuning into your body and listening to your body's cues because women, we are different every day. Which our hormonal kind of blend is different every day. Some days you roll out of bed and you're like, yay, what am I going to do today? And some days you roll out of bed and you're like, I just want to crawl back in and not face the world. And how does exercise fit into that? So maybe on the days where you go, whoo, that's the time where you train hard. And on the times where it's like, I don't want to face the world today. I don't feel that good. Maybe just reading your body and adjusting. You still should move every day. I mean, I often tell people you should still move every day, but move in the way that will suit your body on that given day.
Mm,
So yesterday I wasn't feeling very good. I was kind of tired and I didn't know what was going on. And so the training that I wrote for myself, I knew that there was no point of pushing my body into doing something because I don't know what was going on. I think I was coming down with something. And so I just went for a really gentle walk with my dog and it was just being outside and it refreshed me and energized me. Whereas I know that if I went and did that workout, it might have felt okay for a little while, but I know that afterwards I would just crash and it just wouldn't, I would have to push
yeah,
kind of against the
yeah.
body and where I was at. So what I teach women is often, it's hard when you've got 2 classes a week booked somewhere and it's full on and then suddenly you realize, oh, it's the first day of my period today. And do I want to go and smash this? Probably not. So just always tuning in and asking. And actually after a while, once you open that communication between you and your body will tell you what it wants to do. It's like,
Mm,
no, today we're just going to go for a gentle walk. Take me for a gentle walk or take me for a swim or like, yeah, we're going to crush it today. Yeah,
right,
today's the
right.
day.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so this for me brings up like a really, really important issue that I would highlight from what you said. There is this um I don't know, like in the general um culture that we have. I know certainly here in America, I feel that a lot where there's a push to this attitude of no matter what, that there's things that you have to have a no matter what attitude, and that's the winning attitude, that if you don't, like, you have to set your goal and then achieve it no matter what. And so if it's an
Mm,
exercise goal and you're like, okay, I'm going to do this much exercise, this kind of exercise, then you have to do it no matter what. And if you don't do it no matter what, then somehow you have failed, you know.
mm-hmm,
And what you are saying is something different, maybe. I mean, like, and oh my gosh, so it's like I could never honestly fall behind this no matter what kind of attitude because ever since I have become obsessed with my mental health, with my happiness, I'm like, I'm not willing to do things no matter what. In that, if it's going to compromise my mental health, if it's going to compromise my happiness, my inner peace, then I'm not going to do it. And so for me, that has become a very firm boundary. Um, yeah. And I think I forgot the question that I had in my mind when I started talking
Yeah,
about.
I think what you're referring to is that, again, that masculine, we celebrate the masculine, the go, 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 achieve at all costs, just push
Mm,
through, don't whinge, don't be a girl's blast. And here in New Zealand is a very much that kind of culture too, like our celebrities are our rugby team, it's the kind of like, those are the heroes that we look up to. And, we often tell our little boys, oh, harden up and, don't cry and be a man and be a boy and don't be a girl's blast and stuff like that. And then in return, New Zealand has the highest teenage suicide rate in the developed world. So put two and two together here, like we don't allow our boys and our teenagers to be in touch with their feelings and to cry and have emotions and we celebrate the go at all costs, but women can't fit into that. We can't push all the time. I mean, for women, the feminine energy is more like an ocean, isn't it?
uh,
It's ebb and flow, and it's being open and receiving and attracting things and being radiant and attracting abundance from the universe and magnetizing things and to us. And I think that like now we kind of think like, oh, we can have it all. We can have the careers and we can be in the boardrooms. But I think that leaves women really exhausted
mm,
because we are not, I mean, we can be in that masculine energy, and if you're a boss of a company and you have to be in it, you have to be in it. But then what do you do when you get home? You need to just get rid of it and then get back into your flow and what suits you as a woman, because I think there's a lot of women around who are terribly burnt out and quite hardened and their health is struggling. I mean, their health is struggling. It's the level of
yes.
stress and how they, and often when I did a lot, because obviously I train a lot of women in midlife and they are reaching the menopause, and some women really struggle, and all the research that I've done, it's telling us that how you've been treating your body up to that stage is then menopause is the result of all the abuse that you've been doing to your body for the last, I don't know how many decades. That is the kind of the reckoning time. That is the like, okay, I've had enough. I've had enough of the stress and the hardcore exercise and the dieting and the starving and the not taking enough self-care and not taking enough time and not exercising in a mindful way. And now I'm going to make you pay.
Mm,
So I think that's often, we can't conform to that push at all costs. Because I used to be like that in my business too when I started. Oh, 80-hour weeks, I got to hustle. I have to, and then you just like one day you just go
right.
and you fall on your face and you're like, maybe that's not the way I should be running my business. Maybe it's more. And now my work day is about, I start at 5 and I coach some people, I train myself, then I go for a surf or, and then I get into the flow again and then I do some writing and do a little bit of this. And it's more this kind of, just listening to the flow of your day and
Yeah.
structuring your days and structuring your work life around your cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah, not many people talk about it, but there is a lot of research about structuring your monthly goals and monthly workflow to your flow.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And it's very powerful to know that for
Yeah.
women,
That makes
exercise and work and life.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. And I love that analogy you made of women being like an ocean, because
Mm.
not only does the ocean ebb and flow and all of that awesome stuff, but my gosh, the ocean is so powerful. So it sort of like goes back for me to the idea we started with talking about earlier, where we're like, we do power, we have power, we are power, but it's just do it in our own way. I mean, I can think of very few forces in the world that are more powerful than the ocean.
Oh yeah. But then sometimes it is so beautiful and calm, isn't it? And sometimes it's like, yeah.
Like as needed, as needed. It's like even when it's calm, the power doesn't go away anywhere. It's just
No.
in a different form, expressing
Mm,
itself in a different form. Oh, I love
absolutely.
that. That is so
Yeah.
cool.
It's a beautiful analogy, isn't it? Metaphor. Like as somebody described to me, I think I was reading a book about relationships between men and women, and they said that the man is the mountain. They should be the mountain in the middle of the ocean, always strong and unwavering, and then the ocean around it. The kind of the sometimes it's calm and sometimes it's not, but the mountain still stands. And I think that's a really
Interesting.
beautiful way just to look at the kind of the masculine and the feminine dance. Even within ourselves as women, we have that dance as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. You just made me think about the mountain pose in yoga.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah, when you're really deeply rooted in
yes.
yourself. Yeah.
Yes, that is also a really beautiful pose, actually. According to some yoga philosophers, they say that the mountain pose is truly the most difficult of poses
Mm,
because with the mountain pose, it's not just about cultivating the stillness of body, which is what most people focus on, but it's also about cultivating that stillness, that calmness of mind and thought
mm,
and feeling. Uh,
mm.
and how many of us can achieve that and how well and to what extent? That's really where the challenge is.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And that's why I love training people with these really complex movements with these warrior weapons like steel mace and club bells, because you
Mm.
can't think about anything else because it will go terribly wrong. So I think what a lot of my clients often say is like, wow, I really cannot even for a split second think about work, my relationships, the problems that I have, my mortgage or whatever, because you just fully tuned in into your breath and in this tool that you have in your hand. And you know that if you're not going to do it well, you're going to like pop yourself on the head, or because you swing these tools. So you're creating a very dynamic movements and you're moving the tools around your body. So if you don't pay attention, I mean, I once remember I was swinging these two clubs and then someone walked in through the door and I looked and then the two club bells arrived right above my eyes and I
Oh,
was knocked myself
oh
out.
my
It was
gosh.
that split second of me just looking, and then I just went.
Yeah.
So people know that then, and that's, I think, so nourishing about
Mm.
mindful exercise and movement, is that you can it's like meditation. For me, exercise is moving meditation.
Yes. Yes.
Mm,
Exactly. When you do exercise with that kind of mindfulness, it absolutely
mm,
is meditation. I mean, I know so many people who will be like doing exercise. So maybe they're like, let's say on a treadmill, but then they're distracting their mind by watching TV or
watching TV.
something like
I
that.
know.
And like for me, that cuts down so much on the benefits that you can experience from exercising because yes,
Mm.
your body is still working, but you're not at the same time training your mind and your emotions and teaching yourself how to have that unity of mind and body. Uh,
Yeah, and it's like multitasking, which is a myth, isn't it? Just means that you're doing one thing not so well while you're concentrating on something else. And
mm,
the person on the bike, exercise bike, or on the treadmill watching TV, is their form good? Is their breathing good? Because that's not what they tuning in. They're missing a really amazing opportunity to
right.
tune in with their body. And and to go like, am I squeezing the right muscles? And being with themselves, I think, in that moment. But I think a lot of people are scared to be with themselves. It's uncomfortable.
Yes. And I think also part of the problem is probably that they feel the need to distract themselves because they don't
Mm.
enjoy the exercise that they're doing, and they know that. And so rather than being like, okay, there's a problem here in terms of I need to either figure out a way to enjoy this exercise or try a different kind of exercise that I can really enjoy. Instead, they're like, okay, I'll just distract my mind.
Yeah, because this is so boring. Yeah. And
Right.
that's probably what you referred to, that push culture, isn't it? Oh,
Mm.
I got to lose 10 pounds. That means that I have to be on the treadmill for an hour every day. And it sucks. I won't stick to it long term. I can't because there's too much. But hey, it's just wasted time, I think. And I often tell even people who come to me for trial sessions, I'm like, if it's not your jam, this doesn't float your boat, oh my gosh, don't waste your precious life doing something that you don't enjoy. Go and dance in your kitchen for 20 minutes every day if
Mm.
that's what you want to do, or do jujitsu, do surfing, do walking, do running. I don't know, find something that will make you get out of bed at 6 a.m. or whatever time, put your shorts on and go and do it, because life is just so short, isn't it?
Yeah.
To be doing things you don't enjoy.
Yes. Yes, exactly. And you have to sort of like think from this mindset of putting a real priority on enjoying your life and having fun in your life, on loving your life.
Yeah, because it's only the one you get, right? And I think people have this kind of notion that we have infinite amount of time, but I would never spend an hour on the treadmill. That's not, and my exercise is 20 minutes a day. I don't dedicate more time than that. I mean, if you can't get your exercise done, unless you're working towards some specific goal, obviously. But as a normal person
Yeah.
with just wanting to be reasonably fit and reasonable, I mean, we're not Olympic athletes, right? I mean, we're just normal people that just want to have a basic level of strength and mobility and feel good and exercise for mental health. 20 minutes a day should do it. I mean, you
Yeah.
shouldn't have to spend more than that, maybe half an hour tops,
Yeah. Yeah. Actually,
because
there's so
why
much
should you be
research.
spending?
Yeah.
Hmm?
No, I was saying there's actually a lot of research that shows that 20 to 30 minutes a day period, that's really
Mm.
all you need.
It's all you need.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even I go even further with people and I said, look, even if you can do just 10, it's
Yeah.
enough.
Mm.
Even 10 minutes a day, it's 70 minutes over a week, still better than nothing. Because often I get people who haven't moved for a long time or who are really tight and really have issues with mobility, and people that can't get off the floor. And so those people, I just give them mobility movements, just basic stretches. And I think 10 minutes is all you need. Or
Yeah.
if you're running 3 times a week, do 10 minutes of mobility every day just to keep your
Uh-huh.
body moving. And think about, that kind of long term when you are 50, 60, 70, 80, what it is that's actually going to keep you being able to live your life to
Yeah.
the extent you want to live it, being
Yeah.
able to get out of the car, off the floor, being able to maybe clean and hang up the laundry and, just the
Yeah.
really basic things, because once you can't do those when you're old, you're going to have to go somewhere, right? You can't live in your own home anymore. And often people focus on the strength and the muscles and the skill, but often forget that it's the basic mobility and
Yes.
how you move your body that is the goal for the old age. It's not about whether you can lift 50, 100 kilos off the ground. It's
Right.
about, can you just put your groceries in the car
Yeah.
and carry them into your home, and
Yeah.
bend down when you're mopping your floor, and get in and out of a car. Once you have no hip mobility and you can't get out of a car, well, you can't drive anywhere anymore. And
Yes.
that's a huge loss of independence. And I think that that's what people need to think about. Will my exercise be, is it sustainable for the
Mm,
rest of my life? Is this something that is this something that's hurting me? Or is this something that is building me stronger and more mobile?
yes. So thinking about your health and fitness from that bigger picture perspective, it's like you don't want to make your body fit in one narrow sense, but then end up hurting
Mm,
yourself in other ways, or you know, uh, not be able to sustain in the long term the fitness that you're creating right now, because
mm,
lose that fitness, then that creates other challenges in terms of your mental health. And you're like, oh my gosh, I've seen this happen with so many people, where, they'll work really hard for a period of time to lose weight, develop a certain level of fitness and so forth, but they can't sustain it. And then when they're in that period where they're feeling they've lost that fitness, then they really go down on themselves. They're beating themselves
yeah.
up, and that's just so, like, I mean, toxic.
They get depressed too, and they often put on a
Yeah.
lot of weight. And
Yeah.
it's that kind of, I think the modern, I call it the fast food fitness. So
Mm,
you sign up for some class, some maybe high interval training or something, and then you're working out for 6, 8, I don't know, 12 weeks, and it's going really well, and you're losing weight, you're gathering skills, and then you get injured,
mm,
and then you're out for 4 weeks while you're recovering. So you lose all the gains pretty much, and then you go back. And then I these are mainly the people that I often get, they are stuck in that injury cycle,
yeah.
or they're running, but they are a 50-year-old woman, and I had a client who was a runner, so broken,
Yeah.
tight hips, chronic injuries. Um, Even when she was really exhausted, she would still go for a run because, she had to run 140 kilometers a week or whatever. And then she was always in that injury cycle, always being okay, getting injured, being okay, or aggravating the old injuries. And
uh,
that's not good. I mean, that surely cannot be, and then with every injury, it never really, once you get into midlife, it never really fully,
right.
you can never really fully fix it. There'll always be something. And then you just end up with this, people tell me, oh, I'm so fit, I can run I don't know, half a marathon. And then you're like, oh yeah, but I've got issues with my feet, issues with my ankles. I've got, and you
Yeah.
kind of like, well, good for you,
Yeah.
but you are reaching this goal at the total expense of your
Yes.
own body, because your
Yes.
body is paying for this
Yes.
daily.
Yes. And being able to run half a marathon, ultimately, really, like you said, unless you're a professional athlete, and literally that is like the thing that you've devoted your life to, like, really, what is the point of your life? Like, what's the point? What are you really gaining in your life, and in your ability to live life in a meaningful way, in a purposeful way, by being able to run a marathon? Um, if that's not like, and you're just normal people, you're not a professional athlete or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. And there are some people who really like do smart training, they strength train and they lots of
Yeah.
mobility. And so for them, it's not a big deal. They just
Yeah.
run it and they don't have issues. But I
Right.
think the majority of population is oh, I'm going to start running. And then they just start running. And then inevitably,
Right.
within a few weeks, they will get injured because they just don't hire a coach or don't do the strength training in order to be able to do that, or already maybe sitting down for 8 hours every single day, and then they loading that poor tight body with
Yeah.
more exercise, and
Right. And that
it's
happens because they're not professional athletes, they're not professional runners,
yeah.
and they don't want to be. And so of
No.
course they don't have the capacity or the motivation or the know-how to do things
Mm.
that other way, that's where, you train yourself hard, but then you're also, like really doing so much else to take care of your body and your fitness to enable you to do that run without harming and injuring yourself and so forth.
Mm.
So, I mean,
Mm.
athletes, like literally, professional athletes, I mean, they spend, I mean, I don't, I like, I'm forgetting exact numbers, but like, who was I listening to? Like, there was,
I mean, they will have a whole team behind them. You know,
exactly.
they have massage therapists, they have physios, they have
Yes.
doctors, they
They
have
even,
acupuncture, they have, they have like a
psychologists,
whole team of people
yeah,
putting them back together in order to be able
yes,
to achieve that peak performance.
yes.
But most of us don't have that at our fingertips.
Exactly. Exactly. It's like their fitness and everything to do with it is like their whole lifestyle is basically like you have to devote to that in order
Mm.
to maintain that and create that kind of level of fitness and maintain that. Like you're spending your pretty much your entire day. It's like 8 hours
Mm.
a day, maybe more. Like,
I mean, it's their job, isn't it?
yeah,
Their
exactly.
job.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. So I think we just don't realize that. We lose that perspective. We were trying to like
Mm.
copy them, but we can't because we can't spend 8 hours a day doing all that stuff that they
No. And we're normal people, like I have two businesses and I'm a solo parent of three children. And, I don't have time to, if I can't get my exercise done in 20, 30 minutes, unless I go surfing, of course, that's different. But I don't have the time, and I want to do other things. There's other self-care practices that I like to do, and
yeah,
and one shouldn't exclude the other. So yeah, if you can't get your exercise done in 20, 30 minutes, then and often people kind of think, oh, I need so much time. And I often tell you, you don't. You actually need 10, 15 minutes a day.
yeah,
My boyfriend is 52 years old and he's in phenomenally amazing shape. And when he tells other men that he exercises for 15 minutes a day, they don't believe him. But it is. But the thing is that he's been doing it for decades.
yeah,
So doing 15 minutes a day for decades in a mindful way, it's
yeah,
going to get you into a
yeah,
phenomenal shape where you're just maintaining it, as opposed to letting yourself go and not moving your body at all for 10 years and then kind of doing this, it's everything or nothing. Like,
yeah,
like they don't realize, okay, well, I've just let myself go for 10 years. So I'm going to give myself 10 years to get back to the shape where I was, right? No, they want it in 6 weeks.
right.
And I think that often the messages we get in media is like, lose 10 pounds in 6 weeks, get summer body in 4 weeks. Like nobody is telling you, if you want to lose weight, it's going to take you years, because that's not going to sell, is it?
Yeah,
But that's what it takes.
yeah,
It takes years, and it takes small incremental steps over a long period of time. And I think people don't want to hear that. They want the instant, quick fix. Hey,
yeah,
that's okay. I can put on 10 kilos in 3 months' time when I let myself go. And then it'll be fine because I'll jump on some diet and some crazy 100 push-ups a day program, and then I'll lose it all in 6 weeks. Well, guess what? Then you're going to get injured, and then you're going to put on 12 kilos this time, not 10. And then I see people just, yeah. And this is the fast food fitness. This is the instant kind of, we just want to put a band-aid on it and just make it go away. But it's just, yeah,
yeah,
15 minutes a day of body weight exercises in your garage it's like the tortoise wins the race, right? The turtle, not the hare, like it's the kind of the slow and steady and
yes,
sensible that will win the race eventually. And it's, for normal people that have busy lives, then that's the approach. Give it 15, 20 minutes every day, and you'll be fine. You'll be
um,
absolutely fine. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. And Jana, I'm having so much fun talking with you. I don't want to stop,
Oh.
and we have to stop. Yeah. Last words you want to share for right now?
What do I want to share? Yeah, just simplify your movement and exercise. Yeah, if you're a woman in midlife, listen to your body and appreciate your body for what it does for you every single day. Find a coach, or if you want some freebies, get in touch. I can send you some freebies, or I have a Facebook group where I do free training for women and lots of lot of kind of tips and tricks, because I think women relate to me because I am also a woman in midlife, and I think and I'm busy and I have children and I have job and I have, you know, lots of the things that most women are dealing with every single day. So I totally understand you. I understand you. I know the challenges that women are facing in our modern society. I understand it. So I would just like to mostly educate and empower women to find ways how to achieve vibrant health, and not just physical health, but mental and emotional health through movement, because it is possible.
Yeah.
I am a walking example of it is possible. It is absolutely possible. Yeah.
Awesome. I love that. And for you, our listeners, please know that we are going to be dropping Jana's links so you can get in touch with her in the show notes. So make sure you check those show notes, click on those links and get in touch with Jana. And until we connect next time, I wish you lots and lots of peace and joy.